something that comes up it seems like it's happened a few times throughout my life. And that is the discussion of who will be the next 007. The search for James Bond. One of the longest running franchises, I guess you could say. Franchises? And again, they are looking for new James Bonds, a new James Bond to replace the previous James Bond, obviously. Who would just James Bond as a franchise is not one that I'm super familiar with. Kind of Casino Royale I enjoyed. I think I watched a couple of the more recent ones, but and none of the old ones. Maybe one or two with Pierce Brosnan, which were not that great. But not really a franchise that I have a lot invested in. But would be excited to see who they choose next. I mean, depending on who they choose, would definitely spark my interest one way or the other. So far, apparently, they are between these four people: Tom Hardy, Henry Cavill, Idris Elba, and Jacob Elordi, which all... Well, three of these guys are well known. Obviously, Tom Hardy played Bane, played Venom. Brosnan, great actor. Same thing with Idris Elba as well. I think he's great in everything he does. And Henry Cavill, Superman. He's in the Mission Impossible movies. I think he was in the last Mission Impossible. I think he's supposed to be in the upcoming Mission Impossible. And then the last guy I didn't recognize until I had seen this different picture of him, because I've seen this post from different people. But this one, this guy, Jacob Elordi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. He is one of the actors in Euphoria. He is one of the kids, which I would imagine, out of all of these actors, he is the least known. By far the least known out of all of them. Also probably the youngest out of all of them. By far the youngest. So I think adding his name to the mix of actors does two things. One, it probably is meant to drive the prices down of the well-known actors, saying like, hey, well, we got this other guy who's going to be a lot cheaper. And he's also, the other reason why is he's younger, so he can be with the franchise for longer. And doesn't really have, I mean, aside from Euphoria, I have never seen this guy before. I mean, he looks the part. Definitely looks like he could be 007. If I had to choose which one I would love to see as being somebody who's not very invested in the 007 franchise and know that it would probably stir up a lot of controversy, which I'm all for controversy, I would prefer if they went with Idris Elba, because it would be the first black 007, the first black James Bond, which... It doesn't. I mean, it's like, as far as the myth, the myth of James Bond, the 007. It's like it doesn't have to be the same person. It's not there. It's like the 007 moniker is. I mean, I guess if they're named James Bond, then they're the same person. But there's nothing that says it has to be a white guy. And like, why should it be? There's been, I don't know, 30 James Bond movies. I don't know how many James Bond movies there are. There's a lot. And they've all been white dudes. Every single one is a white dude. So yeah, make it a black dude. And Idris Elba, one, just as gorgeous as all the other possible James Bonds there are. He's British, so you got that. He doesn't have to do some kind of accent, which I don't know if any of them have. I think they've all kind of been a British. But I don't want to see, like, seeing Henry Cavill. No thanks. I don't think he's a good actor. I mean, he's attractive, but I think he's probably the worst actor out of all four of these, Henry Cavill. And I don't want to see Tom Hardy, because I don't know, he's definitely a great actor, probably one of the best actors in this. I would say him and Idris Elba are two of the best actors in the group. But like I don't know, Tom Hardy doesn't seem like he is more of a rough around the edges kind of a guy versus, the prim and proper kind of put together, clean cut James Bond type. So if I had to guess which of the two, if this were a game, if somebody was asking me who I thought out of these four people, who's most likely to be the next 007, I would say, and I've heard Idris Elba brought up before, but Idris Elba I could see for sure, and then also the guy from Euphoria, whose name is Jacob Elordi. So I could see both of those. Henry Cavill, I mean, they did The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I've tried to watch a couple times, couldn't really get into it. But I've heard that's kind of like a 007-esque. But he's just not a good actor, man. I mean, if he didn't have to speak, if he didn't have to act, and it was just still pictures, yeah, he looks like a 007. Like the good-looking, clean-cut, prim and proper, he's done action stuff. His stuff in Mission Impossible is great. But I have zero desire to see him. Not that I really care. But if any of them, like the only one that would really make me excited to go see 007 would be Idris Elba. I'd be like, okay. I mean, they could still be garbage movies, but at least it would be at least they'd be trying something new. Which it really doesn't feel like a franchise that's trying new stuff. I guess maybe the more recent stuff, they did a lot more action-y kind of things. And not that, I guess the Pierce Brosnan stuff was action-y too, but I don't know. That's my thoughts on the potential 007 post, which was interesting. I mean, it's interesting to see. It's always like the discussion after, like, when Pierce Brosnan was done, it was like, ooh, who's going to be the new 007? I think even before Pierce Brosnan there was like the big question of like, who's going to be the next 007? Who's going to do it? I would love to see Idris Elba. I would also love to see, I don't know, like it just, maybe I need to go through, eventually one of these days, I'll go through and actually watch the 007 movies. I think they're all coming to Amazon Prime since Amazon bought MGM and MGM owns the right to the 007 franchise. They'll become, accessible to watch, stream. I've seen them available to stream before, but yeah. I'm 100%. If I had to vote, if they were taking a vote, I would vote Idris Elba. And if I had to predict, I would predict, I mean, considering if it depends how things are politically, whether they would go with Idris Elba or not. There's definitely a push for more diversity in movies, so I could see that being a reason why they would go with Idris Elba. But also, I could see them going with that younger dude, with Jacob, just because he's young, he's going to be cheap, he's a good actor. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen him do any kind of action-y type of stuff, but he kind of fits the profile, and seems like he would be at a price that would work for James Bond, I guess. I don't know. That would be my guess. If I had to guess, if anybody cared, which nobody does. But if they did, you don't have to ask me because I already answered it. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.